Hey there, it's Diane Forster. Welcome to I Have Today, the show that inspires, empowers, and educates you through life's transition. We talk about the art of intentional living. I am very excited about my guest today. Her name is Dr. Nina Savelle-Rocklin, and she is an extraordinary woman. She's a psychoanalyst, author, and radio host. And our theme for today's show is Break Free from Binge Eating for Good. How would you like to do that? I know I've worked with many of my clients who actually deal with this, and Dr. Nina is an expert. She's way more than that. I'm going to share a little bit more about her background when we bring her up here in just a minute, but this is a very, very important topic, how this is showing up. And, you know, we've heard the expression, it's not what you're eating, it's what's eating you. Dr. Nina is going to go deep into this, where this is coming from, and the power of being a psychoanalyst in doing this work, which I have a few questions for her about that. So she's going to be in the virtual studio with me in just a minute. But before we do that, first, let me tell you where you can find our show. We are streaming live on the E360 television network. If you go to e360.com, that's where our show's home is. But we're also streaming right now live on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter at the same time. So that's where you can find the show. And if you prefer to listen to a podcast, we take this show and turn it into a podcast as well. So I Have Today with Diane Forster is what you would search. And then if you want to find out more about me, you can find me on Instagram and the other social platforms at Diane Forster Official. But just search I Have Today with Diane Forster, and you can find the show in multiple places. So if this is your first time here, I want to say welcome. So grateful to have you. And if you've been here before, I want to say welcome back. You mean the world to me. So if you like this content and what we're delivering, feel free to give us a like, a share, a follow, a subscribe. We would really, really appreciate it. It helps us get this work out into the world in a bigger way. So that's where you can find the show. So what's coming up? Before I have my interview with Dr. Nina, I'm going to tell you what our weekly intention statement is. And then after my interview, please stick around to the end, because I always end every episode with a powerful live mantra meditation to integrate everything that we've talked about on the show that day. So you leave feeling better, more empowered, more inspired, more aligned at the end of the show than you did at the beginning. And so it really anchors it in. So that's what we're doing. So I already said what our theme for the show is, which is break free from binge eating for good. But every single week, we also have a weekly intention statement. And our intention statement this week is, I have today to have a healthy relationship with myself and food. I have today to have a healthy relationship with myself and food. And I know what a big issue this is for so many people, myself included. There's certain foods I have a very unhealthy relationship, and over my life have had foods that I've had an unhealthy relationship, which is why I wanted to bring Dr. Nina on to talk about this, because she really is a globally recognized expert in this space, and you are going to learn so much today. So whatever you're doing, stop all the distractions, pay attention, get out a piece of paper and a pen and take down notes, because you are going to want to integrate what you learn here today. So I'm so excited to bring her on. Now back to the intention statement real quick. So why do we do a weekly intention statement? Well, I want to give you an affirmation and intention to focus on for the entire week, because the way we change habits and create new routines and reprogram the subconscious mind is through repetition. So we give you this weekly intention statement, and we create a beautiful graphic that you can find on my Instagram page. Here, this one is already up there. And if you go to Diane Forster Official and you go to my profile, you'll see a little button called Wallpapers. All of our intention statements are there, including this one. And what I want you to do is grab your phone, take a screenshot of it, and use it as your screensaver for the week. So every time you look at your phone, you see these words. And when you see it, on average, believe it or not, 150 times a day, When you look at this over the course of a week, that's over 1,000 times. That's how you reprogram the mind. Subtle little thing, but super powerful. So, and while you're on Instagram over there, if you like my content, give me a follow over there. I'd love to get to know you there too. All right, so we're going to have Dr. Nina in just a moment, but first let's hear a word from our sponsor, the Spifter. This week's episode of I Have Today is brought to you by the Spifter. The Spifter is a fun sifting spoon that makes cooking, baking, and decorating with sugars and spices so much fun. No more mess or wasting your spices. It's fast, clean, and easy. Everything looks and tastes delicious. It's also great for straining loose tea, getting pesky broken cork out of your wine glass, and draining liquid off food like olives and capers. Whether you're a novice cook or a gourmet chef, you'll love the results. The Spifter, the kitchen gadget that no kitchen should be without. All right. Well, hello, Dr. Nina. Savelle-Rocklin, welcome to I Have Today. So nice to see you.
So great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my absolute pleasure. Yes. I found you on LinkedIn. I don't know how I found you, but I found you and I said, oh, we definitely need to connect. I love what you're up to. And then we had a conversation. I said, I'd really love to have you on the show and share you with the audience because what you're doing in the world is so incredibly important and powerful. And many, many, many people have a struggle with this. So we want to address binge eating. What is it? Why is it? And what does being a psychoanalyst, the advantage of being a psychoanalyst, and all the other things that you are, which I'm going to read in one moment, have to do with really helping through this? So before we get into our questions, just let me read a little bit more about you. So Dr. Nina is a psychoanalyst, author, and radio host, a globally recognized expert in the field of eating disorders. She's written 4 books and over 50 articles. She also hosts the Dr. Nina Show, Outsmart Emotional Eating on LA Talk Radio. She's the founder of the Binge Method, dedicated to helping people worldwide overcome binge eating and heal their relationship with food. She's also the author of 4 books, The Binge Cure, 7 Steps to Outsmart Emotional Eating, Food for Thought, Perspectives on Eating Disorders, and co-editor of Beyond the Primal Addiction and the upcoming Food Matters. You are such a busy lady. Look at all that you've done. Oh, you've been featured all over. LA Times, Good Housekeeping, Prevention, and the Dr. Drew podcast. Wow. So, Dr. Nina, this is amazing. So my first question to you is what's your story? How did you become an expert in this? And I'm certain there's a backstory with it. Yeah.
Oh, there's a backstory.
Yes.
So this starts literally when I was 5 years old, when I looked at my legs and decided for some unknown reason at that time that they were too big and that somehow if I had skinnier legs, I would be better. And I was a perfectly normal weight kid. My parents were college professors. They didn't have any magazines or they weren't watching any TV that would make me think about body image, certainly not at age 5. But
Right.
This was the beginning of my descent into really eating disorder hell. So by the time I was a teenager, if you look at my journal, every page of every journal is filled with numbers. It would be calories I ate, calories I burned, the weight I was, the weight I was going to be. So I was always on some crazy restrictive diet. Eventually, I would lose my willpower, lose control, eat the kitchen. Sometimes I'd purge. So I really considered myself the poster child for eating disorders because I had all of them. And in college, I finally went to therapy, but I went for anxiety. I was just too mortified to tell anyone what was going on with food. I was too embarrassed. I was too ashamed. So no one ever knew the truth. So instead, I talked about guys and goals and dreams and fears and all the things that you're talking about when you're in college. And by the time I left therapy, without ever once talking about food, all my eating disorder behaviors were gone for good.
Wow.
And people say, wow, right? How is that possible? How do you get rid of all eating disorders without ever talking about food? And my answer is that food was never the problem. It was the solution to the problem. Whether I was restricting or binging and purging or binging, whatever was going on with food was a solution to the real problem, which was my toxic relationship with myself. I was a perfectionist. Nothing I did was ever good enough. Half the time I would be thinking about food or eating or whatever it was I was doing just to get away from my own mean voice. And by changing my relationship with myself, by turning my inner critic into a friend, essentially, which sounds easier said than done, yes. I healed. By healing my relationship with myself, I healed my relationship with food. And this is where the psychoanalytic part comes in. Why at age 5 did I suddenly decide that I was too fat is really how I thought of it. I thought it was fat.
Right.
Well, as I said, my parents were college professors. They were very academic, very quiet and scholarly. And I was always being told, you're too dramatic. You're too loud. You need to calm down. You're too sensitive. You're too much was the message that I was given. And my 5-year-old mind turned that into something rather concrete. I was too much. And that if I were just smaller, I wouldn't be too much. I would be accepted. I would be loved. And so that shows the power of psychology when it comes to really healing from binge eating disorder for good, which is possible. It is curable. It is not about willpower. It is not about control. It is not even about food. It's something is eating at you that may or may not be in your conscious awareness. But when you figure out what that is, and you resolve it, then you are liberated. That's why I don't believe in recovery. Recovery is you're always in recovery, right?
Yes.
In recovery. No. I believe in liberation, which is, hey, I used to do that. I don't do that anymore.
Yes.
That's in my past.
Yes. Oh, it's not recovery. You said it's liberation. I love that so much. Okay. Oh, there's so much I have to say about all of this. I love that you were able to get to the place in your therapy, in your journey, that one simple 3-word sentence was the thing. You're too much. You're too much. What? Because of course it was in a million other ways, but you can drill it down to that. And when you realize, oh my gosh, this is so big, right? So, all right. So for everybody out there who's hearing this and dealing with this, what would you say to them to look for, like, as the first signs that maybe they're in trouble, like maybe they need help?
Well, the word binging is used in so many different ways. Some people will say, oh, I totally binge. I ate 4 cookies. Someone else will say, I totally binge. I ate 40 cookies. Now, technically, 4 cookies is not a binge. A binge is when you eat an extraordinary amount of food in a short period of time. You are filled with remorse and guilt and shame because of it. And it's horrible. Most people who are binging, they know that they are binging. But if you feel bad, if you're eating 4 cookies, that's legitimate too. I don't want to say, well, you only ate 4 cookies, so it's not a binge, so you're fine. No, if you're eating something to resolve something emotional, right? If you're not eating because it's breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks, and it's yummy, my one and only food rule is it should be yummy. If you're on the diet binge cycle, if you know you have a disturbance in your relationship with food, it needs your attention.
Yes.
And what I would say is, don't focus on what you are eating, because what you are eating, again, as in my case, is not the problem. Focus on why. I like to say, be curious, not critical. So critical is, oh my God, I can't believe I ate this, this, and this, and this. I have no willpower. I am disgusting. Or often people talk to themselves in second person voice. They'll say to themselves, oh, you're disgusting. And then, they feel bad, and then they go binge again. So don't focus on what you're eating, focus on why. And a lot of times we get so quick. We're so fast to learn, we learn to just turn to food to escape something that even before it's in our conscious awareness. I think I can give an example of that, because an example is always helpful.
Please do. Yes.
So this is really one of the best examples I have of how we are triggered unconsciously by things that are hidden from us, out of awareness, but not out of operation. So this has to do with this woman I called Jenna, not her real name. And she came to me and she said, hey, Dr. Nina, maybe some of your other people are struggling with emotional eating, and they're eating because there's something bothering them. She said, but not me. I'm a food addict and I'm addicted to Chunky Monkey, and I can prove it. So I said, oh, really? Because I don't believe in food addiction, right? You could probably already tell that. Maybe eating addiction, which is different. So I asked her I asked her for the proof. And she told me that the night before she had been watching TV after a perfectly fine day. Nothing was bothering her. Everything was fine. Just all of a sudden, Ben and Jerry's, as she put it, was calling her name. She said, calling my name. I'm addicted to Chunky Monkey. I said, well, wait, what were you watching on TV before Ben and Jerry started calling your name?
Yes.
Oh, it was Charmed, her favorite guilty pleasure. So because she was doing something she enjoyed, there was no reason, or so she thought, that she would want to down a pint of ice cream, or maybe two. So, well, what was the episode about? She said, oh, it's that one where the demon comes down and he breaks the bond between the sisters, and they start fighting, and it gets nasty and contentious and terrible. And I said, oh, sisters fighting, huh? And she looked at me and she went, oh, because in that moment, she realized what had happened. She had a terrible relationship with her sister. Watching the show activated uncomfortable feelings about their relationship. But before that could reach conscious awareness, she went to ice cream for comfort and distraction. Ice cream was not the problem. It was the solution to the problem, which was her inability to articulate her feelings about her sister and her inability to comfort herself because of that. So if we had been like, okay, well, when my ice cream calls your name, brush your teeth, take a walk, take a bubble bath, light some candles, do all that, we wouldn't have gotten anywhere, because it wasn't the problem. It was the answer to the problem. And that's why it's so important to really check in with yourself and ask yourself, well, what's going on in me? If I were not thinking about food, what would I be thinking about? And often, like Jenna, you don't know, which is why I created my food mood formula to help people. So the food mood formula secret really helps you identify the hidden unconscious reasons why you might be turning to food. And I can go over that really quick.
Yes, I would love to that. And what is it called again? Say it again.
The food mood formula.
Food mood formula.
Secret. So in the first, like maybe 10 years that I was in clinical private practice, I started noticing that when people were talking about certain kinds of foods, it was always to resolve certain kinds of moods, certain kinds of feelings. And I began to correlate that when people want this food, they're really feeling this, even though they, like Jenna, aren't even aware of it.
Right.
So briefly, anything, ice cream, anything smooth and creamy is associated with comfort. And if that is your thing, then you want to find new ways of comforting yourself that don't involve ice cream or food or anything, comfort words. Usually the way we comfort other people when our friends are upset or our kids are upset, we don't say, oh, I know just what to do. Here's some ice cream.
Right.
Talk to our friends, right?
Yes.
A second category is things like bread, cake, burgers, muffins, pizza, pasta, anything that is taking up space within us, kind of bulky foods that take
Oh,
space. And they are correlated with a void inside, loneliness, emptiness, something like that. So if those are your go-to foods, then you want to look at, well, what are the holes in your soul, in your life? And then find new ways to fill them. Then there's crunchy. So anything that makes us bite down hard, whether it's, you know, chips or pretzels or nuts or anything like that. I have a client who says, "Oh, I realized why I was eating pistachio nuts." She said they're pistachio nuts.
I love that.
Yeah, they are associated with some form of anger. So frustration, annoyance, irritation, rage. As women, we are often socialized to not be angry. No, it's not nice. It's not ladylike. It's not proper. It's not good to be angry, just as men are socialized to never feel anything vulnerable. So what happens is we take that anger out on ourselves. Oh my God, I can't believe how much I weigh. I can't believe I ate that. We have no problem getting mad at ourselves. Now, one question I get a lot is, but what about chocolate?
Yes.
What about chocolate? Okay, so some of us only like chocolate with creamy centers or milk chocolate.
Yes.
The creamy. Others only will have a dark chocolate, which has a crunch, or chocolate with nuts has a crunch. So chocolate really goes along with the formula. And additionally, if you like candy or something that's not chocolate, maybe you want to look at the sweetness that's missing from your life, not the literal sweetness of sugar, but the sweetness of connection and fulfillment and love. And really ponder that. So use that food mood formula secret to look at what's hidden from you, because once you identify that and find new ways of comforting yourself, expressing yourself, responding to yourself, everything with food changes. I see this over and over and over again with people who have struggled for decades, but their focus was always on the wrong thing, which was food, and not on themselves and their relationship with themselves.
So how do you start to do that? Focus on yourself. Let's just say this is totally hypothetical, but I'm middle of the night, get up and have, Oreos and milk. Like it's a sweet, it's a crunch, it's a creamy, it's kind of it's the comfort and the anger together. I'm totally making this up. Like what should I be looking at and asking myself?
Okay. By the way, nighttime eating is the time when a lot of people have a problem. They're quote unquote good all day because they're busy, they're occupied, they're working, they're taking care of kids, they're doing things, whatever they're doing, and their minds are on other things. But at night is when we're not so busy, and certain thoughts and feelings can creep into our minds, into our awareness that we don't want any part of. We don't want to know what we know. We don't want to feel what we don't want to feel. And that's when we distract ourselves with food. So if it's Oreos is crunchy and sweet. So you want to say, okay, what is this doing for me? What would I be thinking about if I were not thinking about what I'm eating? What am I upset about? What do I need comfort for? How would I comfort a friend? So, but first you go to first identify what is going on. Oh, I need comfort. Maybe I'm sad. Maybe I'm anxious. Maybe I'm, upset. So what is it that I'm feeling? Then it's to give expression to that. Oh, it's because of this. Here are the 5 or 10 or 1, whatever the reason is that you feel that way, with words. And you express it. I feel this because of this. I need comfort because I'm sad. I'm disconnected. I don't have fulfilling relationships, or they're whatever it is.
Yeah.
You give it a voice, and then you have to comfort yourself. And here's where people go wrong. So I'm really I love acronyms. So I developed an acronym for how to comfort yourself. And it's called, you need to vary, VARY, vary your response to yourself. Validate, acknowledge, and reassure yourself. The U stands for you. Where most people go wrong is they go right to the reassurance and they do it in a dismissive way. often. Oh, but it could be worse. Oh, but look on the bright side. Oh, all of those things.
Yes.
That's not helpful.
No.
First, you've got to validate, yes, this is upsetting. Yes, this hurts. Of course I feel this way. How could I not? And then you give yourself that reassurance, as long as it's not dismissive. Encourage yourself. I have another example of how to do this. Not to do this, by how I talked to my daughter when she fell and scraped her knee really badly. She fell down, she scraped her knee. She's like 6 years old. She came to me. She's 15 now. She's mortified. She knew I'm telling this story all the time. But
Don't worry, I've been there, believe me. I've shared my kids' stories and I'm like, Ma, stop.
Yeah. Oh my God. All right. So she fell down, she scraped her knee. She came to me and she said, oh, Mom, she's crying. It hurts so much. It hurts. It hurts. She's weeping. And I did everything wrong. I said, oh, honey, it doesn't look that bad. Totally dismissive. I said, you're going to be fine. It could be worse. Totally dismissive. She keeps crying and crying, but it hurts. It hurts, Mom. It hurts. And then I realized, oh, I'm doing the thing I tell everybody not to do. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And I said, now that I look at that looks painful. That must really hurt. She stopped crying and she said, yes, it does. Now, can we put a Band-Aid on? Now, what she just needed was some validation. And why do I tell this story about a skinned knee? Because the same thing goes for emotional pain. If you're in emotional pain and someone tells you it could be worse, it's not that bad. Look on the bright side.
Yes.
You don't feel better. But if someone says, oh, that's horrible, that's painful.
Yeah.
I get it. We feel known. We feel understood. We feel better. We don't want to do that to ourselves either.
You know what? This is so huge. I just like that just blew wide open for me. And what was going through my mind was all the times in my life where I did that to my children, thinking, not saying, oh, it's not so bad. That wasn't what I did. I definitely nurtured, when they were crying but they used to fall down a lot, when they're learning to walk or, just being kids, they fell down a lot. And I never made a big deal about it. I just kind of like, well, if they're going to cry, they're going to cry. Like, I didn't acknowledge it. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, what was happening is, yeah, they're learning, but that's also needing attention too. Like you're letting me fall. You're leaving me out on my own. I'm sure that, with psychoanalysis, they'll uncover all this stuff about what I did to them, right? That's big. Now, my kids don't have eating disorders, but we all have our stuff. This is your area of expertise, but I could see how this spills into other areas. But food is definitely a big issue for people.
Yes. And we live in a society that says don't have feelings.
Right.
If you're mad, you need anger management classes. If you're sad, you're depressed, you need a pill. If you're anxious, there's a pill for that too. I mean, if you're scared, just like, be bold, stand up to fear. We have all these prohibitions against our natural human reactions. And of course, some people do benefit from medication. I'm just talking about the natural human emotions that keep us connected to ourselves and to each other. And when we do not have a way to acknowledge them, process them, we use food or some other way to cope. I co-edited a book called Beyond the Primal Addiction.
Yes.
It's somewhere behind me, maybe. And the premise of this book is that all of these quote unquote addictions are just maladaptive coping mechanisms. It's a way for us to cope with these feelings, which are just reactions to situations. They are not character flaws. It's a way of coping in the world. And so also, why food? So one person actually said this to me. She said, and she was serious, which is the scariest part about it. She said, why can't I be addicted to meth? At least I'd be skinny. And she was serious.
Ooh.
So what I told her and what I will tell you is that why food, our first experience of connecting with another person, being held, like you see a baby, they're held in a parent's arms, they're cradled, they're safe, they're warm, they're cozy. They feel like a blissful state of connection with a parent as they're being fed. So in our unconscious minds, we connect food with relationship. And that's why in our culture, we talk about comfort food. No, it's a wish to be comforted by someone else. We use all kinds of language like hungry for love, starving for attention. We talk about satisfying, fulfilling relationships. We use so many words that really connect that relationship between food and people. So if people are unreliable, unpredictable, and unavailable, which they often are,
of course,
food, which represents people, it's available, it's reliable, it's predictable. And often we have a relationship with food instead of with people. Or if we're lonely, we symbolically fill the void with food. Or we eat until we're in pain. So we convert emotional pain to physical pain.
Yes, that is big.
Yes. What's the symbolism of the behavior? Not what are you doing with food, but why? What's it doing for you? What's it expressing?
Yes. Yes. This is, oh my gosh, so big. I mean, I've just taken pages and pages of notes and light bulbs are going off in my head. And I've certainly had my share of, and have, certain foods. I wouldn't say I'm definitely not a binger, but I definitely at times consume more than I should, trying to fill a hole. I'm certain of it. I'm certain that's what it is. And wine too. Wine is filling a whole big hole, right? Yeah, let's not analyze me. Not today. So when you say food represents people, is there a way to, diagnose? I mean, in psychology, let's just call it what it is. It's either the mother or the father. I'm not saying that's truth or right. I'm just saying most of the times it's like, whose love did you seek more, your mother's or your father's? Do you find any patterns or, similarities in that scenario? Like, does it lean one way or the other with the certain foods, like the categories you gave? Well, that's more like a, seeking fatherly love or seeking motherly love. Is there any sort of patterns like that?
No, but you ask a good question, which essentially is how does the past inform the present? One thing that I see consistent in everybody that I've ever treated, and I treat men and women, I treat people from their 20s through 70s. Most of them are in their 40s, 50s, 60s. They've struggled for decades.
Yes.
The one thing that everybody has in common from all genders, all backgrounds, all over the world, is a lack of ability to self-soothe. And they have often either internalized a judgmental, critical attitude from a parent or a grandparent or someone in their past, or they have cultivated a cruel stance with themselves because they didn't get enough structure in their lives. So all of them have a lack of ability to self-soothe. They're mean to themselves. They're vicious. How do you know if you're vicious? If you talk to yourself in second person, like the person who said, she said every day she gets up, she looks in the mirror in the bathroom and she says to her reflection, "You're disgusting."
Oh,
you're disgusting. Goodness. And whose eyes is she looking at herself through? Right? Someone looked at her. In her case, someone looked at her with disgust. Like very petite mother, very petite, skinny little, probably had anorexia. And her mother was just horrified that her daughter was tall and big and sort of broad like her father. And her mother would look at her with disgust. And this person internalized that disgust, and what was relational is now internal. Now she is looking at herself with disgust, which just makes her want to get away from herself, which food does. So it's really important to look at where this comes from, not from a position of blame. I want to be really clear about this. Is not like the oldest psychoanalytic joke in the world is, if it's not one thing, it's your mother. No, sometimes it's your mother, sometimes it's your father, sometimes it's your teacher, sometimes it's your grandfather, sometimes somebody, either overtly or covertly gave you a message that you weren't good enough, or made you feel uncomfortable, or you didn't get enough of what you needed. Something happened in the past. It's not about looking in the past. It's about seeing, how is the past alive and present in your present.
Yes.
So if you were treated critically, how are you critical to yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Often we treat ourselves as we were treated, and we treat other people the way we would like to be treated, which then for many people, they get depleted. They give and they give and they give and they give, and they take care of everybody.
So much.
Food takes care of them.
Wow. So many amazing nuggets in this. So true. We act like the love we seek. We act in our love language, not to bring in that whole thing, but that's how we do behave, right? So there's so much of that. Is it more so with women than men? And if so, no, it's not. Wow.
Yes, it's a fallacy that this is something that only women deal with. A lot of men deal with it, and I've been in practice for almost 22 years. And since the beginning of when I started, and I specialize in eating disorders from the beginning, and I would have guys come to me and they'd say, I think I know this is something that only women deal with, or girls, but like, what's wrong with me? And now there are many, many, many men coming out and talking about this. This is a human issue, because if we don't know how to cope, men aren't any better than women. This is just, they're just not talking about it as much.
Yes.
But it's very prevalent. Binge eating disorder is the most prevalent eating disorder there is. Much more so than anorexia and bulimia combined. Way, way, way more so. And so many people think that they are food addicts. They think there is something wrong with them. I'm here to say, no, you are not a food addict. There is nothing wrong with you. You have a diagnosable, treatable condition.
This is so powerful, Dr. Nina. Oh my gosh. Okay, I want to ask you two more questions. This has been so fascinating. I could talk to you all day long. My first question is a question I ask all my guests, and that is, how do you live the I have today way, which is intentionally in the present moment? And if you could start it with the phrase, I have today too. Would you do that, please?
I have today to be grateful and happy for all that I have in my life. I have today to cherish the people in my life, my health, because I've been through some stuff with health. And, if you've been through health scares and you've had cancer, which I have had, and I've had other things that I've had, then you cherish each day and you focus on, without dismissing the bad stuff, but I cherish what I have and who I have every day.
So beautiful. So beautiful. So well said. Thank you for that. All right. My next question is, what do you wish more people knew?
I wish more people knew that it's human to be human. It's human.
I love that.
Feelings. It's human to have reactions to situations that happen. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you an angry person to be angry. It makes you a person who's angry. It doesn't make you a depressed person to be sad. It makes you a person who's sad, or a person who's depressed. And that the more that you can acknowledge and pay attention to what's going on with you, actually the only way to make feelings go away is to feel them.
Yes.
As counterintuitive as it sounds, I wish people knew that it's healthy and human to just respond to ourselves and pay attention to ourselves. Our feelings are a sign that something's going on with us. They need our attention, not our condemnation.
Yeah, you've given me so much to think about today and how important this is, and our feelings matter. We are trained and taught not to feel, and we need to feel whatever it is you're feeling, and acknowledge it and allow it and process it. That is part of this human experience, is that we get to experience our feelings and experience all the emotions. You've been amazing. I've really, really enjoyed having you here today. You're just so brilliant. And I love the work that you're doing. I love you because you are using your life experiences to help and serve so many people in something that is so catastrophically epidemic. It's such a huge problem. So thank you so much for doing that. How can people find out more about you?
Well, I am everywhere. I am TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. You can find me on my website and find the links to all of that on my website, which is drninainc.com.
All right, we're showing it right now, and then we are going to have this in the show notes as well. I highly recommend that you follow Dr. Nina, get her books, get this addressed. If you have been dealing with this for most of your life, this is your wake-up call. You know why? All you have is today. That is all you're promised, and there's no better day than today to start to change your life for the better. So thank you so much for being here, Dr. Nina. I know you and I will speak again. I feel this kindred spirit with you, and I'm so grateful to you and for you for everything that you do.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
My pleasure as well. All right. Take care. Oh, she was epic. Amazing woman. Oh my God, I learned so much. I hope all of you did too. I hope you took a lot of notes, and I hope you're being kind and forgiving to yourself right now for all the times you beat yourself up thinking you have no self-control and there's something wrong with you and you're calling yourself disgusting and all of those negative things. Isn't it nice to know that that's just not true? And all it is suppressed feelings and emotions, and that this is so curable, so curable. It's incredible. All right, before we get to the mantra meditation, which is coming up in just a minute, I want to share a video with you quickly on learning how you could have a platform like me, your own brilliant TV show, to grow your business and your brand, to serve more people, to bring on amazing guests like Dr. Nina. So take a look and a listen at this right now. We'll be right back. Hey there. Do you want to become a TV host and earn 5, 6, even 7 figures in your business, even if you have no experience? Listen, if you're a woman professional and entrepreneur and you help women solve a major life or business challenge with the work that you do, then this is for you. If that's not you, feel free to click skip. But if that is you, then pay very close attention, because what I'm about to share in this video has the power to transform your life and your career. Hi, I'm Diane Forster. After 20 years at ABC TV and hosting my own TV show for the last 5 years, I've made millions of dollars in my career, won multiple awards, appear all over national media and big stages, all because I have a TV show. I'm not spending all day doing marketing strategies that just don't work. I'm using the power of one brilliant TV show to do the work for me, and I'm teaching my clients how to do it. Now, the strategy works so well, we've been able to quickly help women just like you launch their own brilliant TV shows, streamline their marketing efforts, and generate more income and impact. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to check out this presentation right now. Just click the link below under this video. You'll be taken to this sign-up page where you get a 24-hour pass to watch the presentation. Now take a look at Alexis Johnson. She was struggling with her marketing and in her business on how to effectively reach her right market. She put these strategies into place and launched her first show in just 30 days. Not only that, she generated $25,000 in revenue before she even launched. Now here's Megan Benson. She was also struggling with trying to be too many places and was getting nowhere. And she had no experience in TV at all. She followed the strategies, and her new game show, Get in the Game, is premiering on ABC in Santa Barbara. So again, click the link and go to the sign-up page for your 24-hour pass. Then sit down, get something to take notes with, and watch this masterclass because this has the power to change your life. Now, it doesn't matter what niche you're in. You absolutely can and should have a TV show. This works for you, even if you have no experience, or you don't have a lot of time, or you don't even know how to start. You need to click this link now and learn how TV hosting can totally change your career and life. Click the link, sign up, and I'll see you there. All right, so here's your chance to learn more. Go to tvstarhost.com, tvstarhost.com, and tune into my masterclass for free while it's available. All right. Okay, great. Well, this has been an epic show. It's really been extraordinary learning all this. I have so many notes, and what we're going to do right now is we're going to anchor in everything that we learned from Dr. Nina today about breaking free from binge eating for good. How would that feel? So what I'm going to ask you to do is, if you're driving, obviously you can't close your eyes. For everybody else, stop what you're doing, like put other devices down just for a couple of minutes, just a few minutes with me. Let's do this together. And what we're going to do is you're going to have your feet flat on the floor, your hands on your lap. You can keep them face down if you feel grounded, or turn them up to receive more energy. And what we're going to do is we're going to do 2 rounds of breaths. The first breath, we're breathing in for the count of 4 through your nose and pull it all the way down to your tailbone, which is where your root chakra is. Then we're going to hold it for the count of 8. And as you're counting, I want you to send energy to all 8 of your chakras, which is your root chakra, your sacral chakra, your solar plexus, your heart, your throat, your third eye, your crown, and then your soul star, which is about a foot above your head. It's a very important one. The color we send there is white. And so when you're doing that, what you're doing is sending energy to all your energy centers, your chakras that are connected to everything in your body. It is extremely healing. So send that energy there. Then you're going to blow out for 8 seconds, like blowing out birthday candles, like really hard. And what I want you to envision is every toxic emotion, memory, energy, trauma is coming up and out of your body. You're literally releasing it. It's so incredibly powerful. It feels good. My visualization is like it's smoky soot that's like comes out of a chimney. Just get it out, get it out. We're going to do that 2 times. Don't worry about it. I'm going to walk you through it. Super easy. And then just listen to the words. So here we go. All right. Close your eyes. Breathe in for the count of 4. Light up those chakras. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and blow it out for 8. Do it again. Here we go. Breathe in for 4. Through your nose. Hold it as we count to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and blow it out. I have today to love my life. Something really good is going to happen to me today. I can feel it. Miracles, big and small. I notice them all. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. I have today to have a healthy relationship with myself and food. I understand it was never a food addiction. It doesn't even exist. It was an eating addiction, and it's based on beliefs that I have in my mind where I felt emotions when I was seeking something like comfort, like trying to fill a void, like anger, where I needed something. I realize now today, oh my, I have been raised and trained in my life that I am not allowed to feel. And this has been showing up in so many areas of my life, but particularly around food. It's just this lack of ability to self-soothe myself. So now I am going to start treating myself with more kindness and compassion. I am going to allow myself to feel whatever emotions come up whenever they come up. I am going to surround myself with people who acknowledge that I'm allowed to do that, create the space for me to do that, and know that it's okay that I do that. I'm going to honor that. And I know it just was never the problem. Food is not the problem. It's this toxic relationship with myself, and I am letting it go. Whatever the program was that got anchored into me, whenever it was, I am letting that go. I'm going to allow it to bubble up and present itself to me when I start to notice that I'm behaving with food in a way that I don't want to. I'm going to ask myself the question, what's going on here? What's going on here? What is it that I'm looking to fill or feel? And I'm going to start paying attention to the signs. That is the first important step that I need to take. I'm going to give it a voice, like Dr. Tina said to do. And I'm going to validate whatever the emotion is, knowing, yeah, this hurts. And it's okay. It's human to be human. I'm letting go of this. I am deciding that today I'm going to look at this in a whole new way. I am going to be very cognizant of when I say I'm addicted to certain foods, or I'm a food junkie, or a cookie junkie, or a sweets junkie, or a salt junkie, or a fast food junkie, or whatever the thing is that I used to tell myself. It's simply not true. And I'm going to correct this starting today. I am going to be free of this. It's not recovery. It's my new way of life. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I want to thank Dr. Nina Savelle-Rocklin for being here. She is outstanding. Make sure you're giving her a follow. And again, her website link is going to be in our show notes, but make sure you're following her all over social media as well. She's got Dr.Nina.psychoanalyst on Instagram, on Facebook. She's got Dr. Nina for Help. On TikTok, it's the.binge.cure. I'm going to go there today. And she's just fascinating. So remember, it's not what you're eating. It is what's eating you. We've heard that expression before, but it's never been more true than today. Don't you understand that? You're allowed to feel. It's okay to be human. It's human to be human. There's nothing wrong with you. Thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed today's episode, please don't keep us a secret. Share us out with the world. It would mean the world to me. I'm sending you so much love, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.